The deepest hole ever drilled by humans is at the Kola Peninsula in the former Soviet Union, not far from the Finland and Norway borders. The operation began in 1970, and by 1994 it ended, mostly due to lack of funding and higher than expected temperatures encountered at the site. Interestingly, the density of the Earth decreased and the rock became more porous as the drilling continued. And even though the total depth reached over 7.5 miles, in the grand scheme of things, it was nothing compared to the known distance to the center of the Earth, which is nearly 4,000 miles. The vast majority of information regarding our planet, that which exists below the surface, remains unknown. Most of it is guesswork. In this project, we looked at three things in relation to the inner geophysics of Earth: its central composition, its magma structures, and the changing of the magnetic poles. Many of the themes included rockiness, heat, lava, vibration, humming, energy, weightlessness, tunnels, chambers, caverns, chemicals like sulfur and lithium, seismicity, and motion. In addition to that, viewers witnessed strange and unexpected information. This included areas of seemingly extremely large open spaces that were potentially inhabitable with interconnecting tunnels. There were structures as well as organic life which seemed to range from the primitive, which included things like bacteria, insects, and worms, to animals, humans, and related subjects. Perhaps there are logical explanations for this first set of data. Ancient volcanic structures no longer flowing, for instance, could give rise to now large and empty spaces. Collapsing and melting rock might also give way to more cavernous regions. In the following group discussion, we go over much of that data together. Yeah, so I guess we can get started on it. Let's see, let me pull up the actual project targeting / report, hang on. Yeah, so can you see the target here?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And these are the subcategories. Some people chose to do it all together. Some did two. Most people did two. Most of them did 1 and 3, which is 1 being described the core of the planet, what it's composed of. 2 would be the structures and flow systems. And then we've got the connection to the magnetic pole speeding up. Let's see here. Can't go down, there we go. And so we didn't really have any, I didn't have any biases. I didn't have any belief system about the inner Earth. We did come up with, of course, a lot of anomalous stuff in addition to verifiable data, which was cool. And we'll get into, I guess, both of those things. Let's see here. I guess first I was going to ask, what were your impressions after you saw the feedback or heard what the feedback was? Henrietta, you've got something to say, go ahead.
I was like, I'm going to quit remote feeding. That's certainly not fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but you actually had some interesting stuff in drawings. So, you know, we can't say for certain what all of that was, but you didn't, at first, yeah, I take it you just thought it was way off though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll take a look at some of that. And what about you, Gemma?
I can't really remember now because it feels like it was ages ago, but
Yeah.
I felt like I was off, apart from a few circular impressions that I had in the first one. it was a really interesting target to do, though. I really enjoyed it.
Do you think that you are on target now, or after reviewing it?
I think part C with the magnetic pole question, that was quite difficult for me to do, because I think that's beyond my understanding and vocabulary. But I mean, the first part, I think I did okay. We all had similar impressions. I kept getting like a tunnel kind of vibe, like a tunnel going into the earth. Figures doing something covertly. Slave labor, which I think a few of us got, if I'm right.
You also, I was just going to say you had drawn like a trunk with sort of roots, and I think.
Yeah, that was the monitored session.
Yeah, you picked up on sort of heat there, and then sand off to the side. So.
Yeah, that was really hot. That one, really hot. I felt myself actually sweating, so that was interesting for me.
What about you, Patrick? You might be on mute. Yeah, I think you're on mute.
I just went back over the data there before we came on. I'm really not sure. I felt I was off. I found it hard to connect with, but the first session I just looking at it here, that seems to be more outer Earth than inner Earth. But the second session, I was AOLing on Oumuamua, and I was wondering what was going on at the time, and looking, I'm just after reminding myself there, it was because Oumuamua has this kind of outer, it's almost like an asteroid, or looks like an asteroid. It's got this kind of almost like land, kind of this rough texture. But yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's speculated that inside there's some mammoth, and some viewers looked at it, and that's what they found, and that's what I kept getting in the second session. So maybe I was trying to connect with a man-made inside of land.
Okay, yeah, and you had.
But other than that, I wasn't sure really. You know, I know that some of us we have a similar sketch of a man-made that I think I was AOLing on a UFO. I think Henny, you had a bullet.
Yeah, I had a bullet shaped something going inside this cavern, which looked like this long figure or bullet shaped.
Yeah, and mine was long also. It wasn't for UFO, I guess. It wasn't disc shaped. It was getting the length, and that's again was a trigger for the Oumuamua was triggering that description. I think Tonde had something similar as well, but other than that, I'm not sure. You know, I would have been happier with my session, or I would have more confidence if I was getting some of the kind of land-based descriptors first, and then the higher level ideas I would trust more.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel I was, you know, so I'm not really sure about what I have.
Yeah.
I guess if it supports what other people have found in some way, then that's some kind of confirmation for me. But I kind of struggled with it, I think, you know. You gave me a retask. What was the retask?
Right off, I don't really know. I'd have to go back and look, because like I've been telling some people, I've got a lot of different pages and other projects going on too. So
okay.
I want to say it was probably the third part, or it was either to probe something, but we can go back and look up on that.
Yeah, I think that's when I was getting the that was the second session, the kind of a more part. So based on what that movement was, or what that retask was, that might make more sense.
Yeah.
Seeing that part, you know.
Right.
But the first part, I think it was off anyhow. You know.
But I do think that you were getting descriptors that sort of lined up, and we'll go over some of those and see how it kind of compares.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like I said, it's kind of it's never going to be, for me, it's never, I would never expect it to be kind of in the, 100% right, but there's always some kind of descriptions in there that make sense when you look at it in, in hindsight. So maybe that when comparing and contrasting with what other people have it might support that, so.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule her all out, but it wasn't one of my better sessions, I would say,
Yeah, I think in some ways, all these sessions kind of add together and may provide some kind of insight. Of course, we can't say for sure. And just like scientists looking at the Earth, a lot of it is guesswork and just looking at seismic waves and data like that.
Yeah.
The magnetosphere. Yeah, I think maybe we're looking at some potentially useful physical information, and the weird stuff that comes through is also interesting to look at as well,
Yeah.
and just think about. So and Lily had a pretty good couple of sessions as well. What did you think when you first thought about it? You had to kind of think about it, right?
Think about.
I mean, you sort of let it gel, and then it seemed like you got excited about it after kind of seeing what it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is not something I viewed before, and I was completely mesmerized. I just, yeah, I didn't exactly know what was happening, but I was just liking it so much. I wanted to stay in it for a really, really long time. Yeah, it was really fun. I think I liked them both, but the third one, it just seemed so magical. I felt really happy at one point, and it felt really good. And I think that I was in the magnetic field. I think that's where I felt the best. And yeah, I mean, I kind of would like to view it again.
Go back sometime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess I'll bring up this little spreadsheet. I edited it a little bit. Wasn't intending to use it as presentation, but I think we can kind of just look at some of the info on it. Hang on just a second. Let's see here. This can sort of give us an idea of some of these impressions that sort of correspond and are also verifiable, I feel like. So Henrietta was getting all these, she did get tunnels and roots and veins. I don't think she quite understood how it went together, which is understandable. Rocky, pebbly, she had kind of, let's see, oh, this is hard to control. There you go. I felt like she was maybe trying to get layers here. I don't know what you think about that, but I could see how when it comes through in a session, you're not quite sure how to depict it.
Yeah.
But some of the descriptors lined up, I feel like, and we can, I guess, go through. You had some motion, energy, protection surrounding. This is all just kind of distilled out of the sessions. Maybe it's a little out of context. You did come up with biologicals, and this was where you were picking up on a sort of pre-technological set of subjects, and also the second session was covert subjects that might have been military related, I guess. That relating to the bullet-like vehicle that maybe was trying to explore further into Earth. But
Well, that was seen like as if traveling, like how you would see subway going through the tunnels. So it was like going inside this cavernous structure, but interestingly, the caverns were like all over, bumpy, somewhere tighter, somewhere larger, so it couldn't have been like a subway system. Yeah, because I had the feeling that it was really irregular surrounding. So even if it was, like, that couldn't have been a subway.
Right. It seemed like it was going down and then it was narrowing to where it was hard to travel through further. So, you know, that would make sense. I could go through each of these. I could also just show you what I found that seemed to be verifiable or verified or on target, if you're interested in that. Let's actually do that right now, I guess. Let's see here. So in mine, I had picked up on sulfur. It does appear, there's just little kernels I picked out. According to some data, the inner core is said to comprise 10 times the amount in the rest of the Earth. That's kind of not as well known. Some people picked up on weightlessness and zero gravity. And I kind of looked at the gravity levels going down through the Earth, and you know, apparently it's supposed to be 0 in the center, which is interesting. So that kind of corresponds with what Gemma, I think Lily got, and maybe Tundi, maybe actually I think Malgarzada got that as well. Temperature is you know, almost like the temperature of the surface of the sun. So we were getting lots of heat. Gemma got radiation. She had the feeling of radiation sickness, nausea, stuff like that. And, you know, according to this, there is these radioactive elements. And I guess half of the heat erupting volcanically is due to radioactivity. I guess a little interesting thing that I picked up was that according to science.com, I think it was, there's said to be a mountain range 410 miles down, larger than Mount Everest. Subsurface mountains using seismic data. So that's interesting. Tundi, I actually had him go back and probe some of his drawings, and he had labeled this area that was about 900 miles down, roughly. See, that's not loading. Oh, there it is. That would be the Earth, apparently. Some subjects. Where's the rest? Well, we'll go back to that, I guess. Oh, there we go. So then he's getting the feeling of down beneath the surface, beneath mountains. Here he's labeling 900 miles down and surrounded by rock. And I guess the mantle, let's see. I think the deeper mantle starts at 400 and something and goes to 800 towards the outer core, according to science. But yeah, he picks up on, of course, this underground city and protected and weird life forms and all that stuff, which other people were getting. We'll get to more of that, I suppose. Yeah. Let's go back up. Is there anything else you wanted to say about yours, Henrietta, or any of this data?
I think I'm fine.
Okay. Gemma, we've got your data here, and like I said, you had come up with radiation. You also had the sense of the outcome of destruction related here, which I don't know if that's related to magnetic poles or earth changes. Everyone seemed to get hot, rocky, these cavernous areas. You did also, in addition to Henrietta, subjects going down a dark entrance. Let's see.
Yeah, it felt like quite a negative environment for me. And I found it interesting that other people picked up on things like I think someone got Oasis. I can't remember who that was, but other people picked up on more positive things, which I think kind of supports the whole Agatha theory. But for me, it felt very negative, and I didn't like it. And I usually get that when it's anything to do with the military, so could possibly be that.
Yeah. At some point, did you get something that was positive feeling though? I want to say.
It was what?
More positive feeling.
I don't remember anything positive about it really.
Okay. You were getting lots of vibration, heat, noise, hum. Many people were getting that, which is interesting. Since, from what I've read, the core of the Earth spins slightly faster than Earth in one direction. The outer core is liquid and moves the other direction, and that gives rise to the magnetosphere. Part of the reason for the poles changing is I guess the heat and well, I'm obviously not a geophysicist, so I'll just stop there. Let's see. I just had a partial session, so this is kind of brief. I did get a little bit of rockiness, cliffs, sulfur, seismic, pointing underground in a drawing, and some technology. I weirdly got brain experiments. So perception of traveling, which could have been underground, architectural designs. Yeah, a little bit of down drop and stuff like that. Lily had lots of data here. She corrected me on a little bit of it. Anything you want to share about that or add to that? Because there's a lot of, I feel like a lot of supporting or potentially verifiable data as well as kind of the more interesting stuff as well. You did get Oasis-like, actually, exotic.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. I definitely felt the different groups. I felt the military aspect, that group, and then this slavery feeling. There was a group that was just, they were exhausted. They were being completely drained. They were being overworked. And so that was a separate group. But there was also this sense of beautiful, wonderful, heaven-like. So it's just interesting because it just seemed segregated so much, the groups. So.
I was going to point out one thing related to what your session, because what you got was in part you were getting, and we can show those drawings, people falling down a chasm, people being thrown down a chasm, disintegrating and sort of doing it all over again, sort of like recycling or reincarnation. I was going to point out a Mayan sort of underworld myth, and let me see if I can bring up what that was talking about. So they did practice sacrifices. Let's see here. You picked up on a bird-like creature reminiscent of the chicken man, which is fun and interesting. Someone else did as well. I forget who. If y'all don't remember, then it might have been Maug.
I think Marco Strata.
Okay. So let's see here. There was believed to be the destruction of a pretentious bird demon in the Mayan mythology, and these twins, I guess, above Earth, humans, whatever, helped destroy this, according to the mythology. And let's see, what else does it say? This is related to the myth of the sun and moon. Well, that's all I can find right now, but it did seem connected. I don't know if we're picking up on mythologies or, you know, it seems like all across the world there are these mythologies, Europe, Asia, South America, even Native American Indians, about the underworld and people supposedly living underworld. So yeah, that was kind of interesting detail. Well, we'll go to some more of this info briefly and just take a look and then kind of summarize from there. Agrazad is not here, but more of this stuff. I'm gonna put on my glasses.
Yeah, she has there the human with bird-like features. So it was her that was picking up on the bird-like.
Yeah, that's right. And she got a variety of humanoid and potentially alien and other forms of life. I think she had something spider-like or spider life. She drew some worms, bacteria. I don't see why that might not exist down there. And Tundi, of course, got some strange alien, potentially alien stuff. Anti-gravity, different gravity. When you go down to the Earth, I guess it starts to pick up a little bit and then lessens according to this information, and then you get to, like, say towards the inner core, it's some fraction of, I don't know, 60% or whatever, and then at the center there's no gravity. But yeah, these tunnels appear, and I think her drawings were actually pretty cool. I'll have to go back and refer, but I think this was supposed to be more or less towards the center of the Earth, and she draws this black liquid, these connecting tunnels, rocks, and also man-made structures. Mountains below, tunnel passages, man-made tunnels underneath. And this little drawing is pretty interesting that she got this. We've got man-made entrances, a sphere, and chambers connecting. And I think a lot of people, including Gemma and Lily, got that these were sort of connecting. And Gemma she kind of drew a map of almost across the globe, it seemed like, of these connecting points, is what it seemed to be. And she got these other beings, 3 claws. There's one more. some friends hanging out by a structure. Yeah, so let's go to Patrick, I think is next on here. And what I felt like was similar was, let's see, you are getting heat, halo effect, radiance, dark with inner blue. Some of this stuff I feel like could have been related. Interesting, you got what was similar, I felt, was a rumbling, roaring sound. You did draw a rocket. I don't know if it's connected to that. People were getting smooth and slick in parts. You interestingly put cut by a lathe or machine to perfection, covered or hidden, like under the surface. Strange. So I do feel like that was on target. Energetic, hot.
Actually,
Go ahead.
no, that's after listening to what everybody else's data, it does kind of seem to fit in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Glowing, radiant source of light, lack of gravity. Again, most people are getting that. Multiple biologicals pilots. The crafts, you know, of course, we all know more or less that there's rumored to be bases, or there's been many sessions showing that underground. So
Mhm.
that's a possibility. Energetics and heat, yeah. So yeah, all part of the puzzle potentially, I think. Tindy had a great session. 3 really. I don't know if all of y'all have seen that, but that was pretty cool. Kind of more of the same as far as the sort of descriptors and dimensions. In addition to that, he got ancient, magical, forbidden. Felt like it was a meeting place. Multiple subjects, weird life forms, ancient order. He felt like it was only for the initiated. Human subjects, but not hundreds of thousands of years, advanced technology, multidimensional aspect to subjects. They did not originally build this area. Lily felt, I believe it was her, that this had been around much longer, perhaps from the beginning of Earth. Yeah, I think a lot of people had got pyramids, actually, believe it or not. 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Mm.
Lily, you had got these sort of sphinx-like drawings and priest-looking people. And I think, interestingly, a lot of people got different animals. Gemma put zoological, strange exotic creatures, underground cities, volcanoes, dislike craft. 600 to 900 miles below, above Earth access points. So it's interesting that people were picking up on this. I don't feel like all of it was imagination or mythology, just because it seems beyond chance that that would happen. However, who am I to say? Now, he got portals connecting to other locations, and I think at least one other person got that. I don't know if it was Lily or Gemma or Malg. 3 people got blocking. It felt like something regarding the target was being blocked. And they also got that there was, apart from the negativity and control, which Gemma was picking up on control and all this stuff, and other people, there were, felt like there were some positive aspects that could have lent credence to the idea of another race or whatever. You know, we're going out on a limb there, but And I think that's the drawings perhaps allude to that in his session with the beings. Pretty cool drawings. He told me that he felt like that they were perhaps non-gender or androgynous.
Androgynous.
Yeah, something like that. And I did put some sort of conclusions down here. Kind of stuff we went over. A little bit of summary of other stuff we found. Seems like that lots of connecting chambers, tunnels, multiple subjects, lack of gravity. We had common sensations. It seems there are likely access points of some kind going underground. I don't know if they've since been caved in or crushed in or hard to access for most individuals. Could be a multidimensional aspect. So we had the, I think from two people, we had the sense of history being kept there and knowledge being protected of the earth and perhaps beyond. Conventional science says that it's mostly solid going through until we get to the outer core, but let's go back here. Look at this sort of cutaway. Can y'all see this okay? So Tunde kind of puts that this range is 600 to 900 miles, which I guess would be in here for like some of this area. Could it be that, and not to sound like an ancient astronaut theorist, but could it be that this liquid outer core, which is producing volcanic flows, volcanoes, expansion, perhaps some of this area has been hollowed out from the past, perhaps it's caved in, burnt away, something like that. That's my kind of speculation for now on it. I don't know what you guys think. Let's see if there's any more photos we didn't look at. It's Patrick's. We didn't look at that yet. You did have a radiant glow. What's this third word? Light. That's light. Okay.
Light, yeah.
Okay. So interesting. I think we could look at maybe some more of these tunnels. Because she drew these archways, connecting archways, and I believe there was more. Well, anyway, a couple that I drew was like these connecting, like a web of someone's making, a sky that looks like sort of watercolor in nature, with mountains, sulfur, siren, cliff, rocky. I had this sense of they were pointing to seismic areas in the earth, isolated company, sense of being dropping utility, spring forth and filtered down. So a basic. I kind of lost power on the old tablet that I just started trying out. So now here's some of what I was talking about with Gemma's. She has these root-like structures in this main shaft. I don't know if it goes into the ground some way. This is kind of like too big. Oops. Going down a dark entrance. Felt like it was unauthorized access. Brittle, bumpy, jagged, stringy, yellow. You know, maybe that's, she's looking at lava there. And then to the side, she got sandy and soft in places. Hard, but soft in places. Circular, spherical, really hot. Hollow on inside, doesn't seem too heavy. Some people were getting that. I don't know if there's this hyperdimensional aspect. That's pure speculation, but hot liquid lava in center. It's said to be, due to all the pressure, the inner core is said to be solid, but I don't know. Other people were getting sort of hollow and a strange airiness, moisture. Lily got kind of this clumping in the middle with that. It felt like it wasn't very dense. It could have been scattered into millions of pieces, you said. Maybe that's somewhere outside of the core. Let's see what we've got here. This military connection. Coffins, body bags, good stuff. Positive. So yeah, I think some people were getting this this element of control, and Gemma actually put that these subjects felt like they were from the depths of hell, which was interesting. That's kind of what we've got there. Hopefully that wasn't too dragged out or long-winded. Any other comments or opinions? Is it all bullshit, or is it all, are you now a hollow earther? Are you somewhere in between?
I don't know much about it myself, but I did watch the first Earth Battalion last night. That it's up on YouTube. It's a story about the Jim. I think it's Jim Channing, the guy who he was connected with the military in the early days of developing the esoteric type of paranormal skills that they were going to teach and develop super soldiers. It's an interesting watch, but he does at one point in it talk about Agartha, this inner Earth, and he describes these kind of reptilian entities that are supposed to live there. It's interesting. It's kind of, it's not something that I've looked into before myself, but he seemed to be quite convinced that they're there and they kind of coexist with us, and they can potentially have an influence on us as well. I think he considers that they were here long before we were, but we coexist. We don't kind of, have any real communication. I mean, maybe some sectors of society might have, but for the most part, they're hidden. But
we stay here, they stay there, or they sometimes visit here.
But these reptilian guys, they might fit in with Gemma's description of them being quite, they're not quite friendly anyhow.
Yeah. So how did he come about that info? Was he doing some kind of remote viewing on it, a project
He
or
did.
anything?
He didn't go into that part of it. He was using some kind of oh, it was he developed it through art. I don't know where he got the whole concept and idea from. Did he borrow it from somebody, or is it something that he came up with himself? But it was artwork he was describing in that video, and I think the artwork, that the way he came up with the artwork was an almost kind of like automatic writing, but it was automatic drawing, you know. And actually, some of these artwork, he has those kind of tunnels, and it looks actually quite similar to what some of you guys sketched. You know, it's well worth looking at. You know, now
Yeah.
he's a funny character. He's an eccentric character, a bit wacky, but he's well respected in the military. You know, he's the guy who's the Jeff Bridges character, played him in Minister of Goats. You know, if
Yeah.
you've seen that film, you'll know that Jeff Bridges is kind of a bit of a loony in that, and this guy is, you know, he's eccentric character, yeah. But
Yeah, I didn't
no,
know
it's
that.
no, it's. I was quite surprised to see that on it. You know, this whole Agartha story sounds interesting, you know, but I've never looked at it.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all in that same boat. Did you guys sort of fall into the same category? Like, did you have any knowledge, interest, or belief about any hollow earth? Because I really didn't.
Hmm.
Always skeptical about everything, but after seeing what I saw, I kind of wonder about it. So I'm less skeptical now, for sure.
Yeah.
We did a target on the practice group a few months ago, I think, Henrietta. I can't remember if it was you or Patrick that tasked it with the UFOs going into the volcanoes. Was that you guys?
I done that one. There was kind of there was the one in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was it was speculated to be a UFO. They weren't quite sure what it was, but I had done the target myself as a practice target, and I picked up a UFO. I think some of you guys did as well.
Yeah, well, there's a whole separate documentary on UFOs going into volcanoes. It seems to be
There
quite
is, yeah.
common. So I think it's highly possible that there could be loads of different things going on inside the Earth. It's a massive amount of space, and I think the one thing that I felt was just there was so much going on, and I think that we all picked up on similar aspects, but also different aspects of it. So yeah, so I'm definitely a hollow earther now.
I read somewhere, I think it was a scientist who said that actually, like, I mean, for any advanced civilization who has some intelligence, living outside on a planet is much more dangerous in terms of survival than finding a way to live inside it. That doesn't mean that I am right now a believer in hollow earth, but I have heard like people say that from an advanced civilization point of view, it is much safer and much more of a guarantee for survival to go inside or under the surface than it is to live outside the surface level, because meteorites can hit, because the climate can change. You don't have as much control over it as when you move below the surface level. So there are people who say that it's actually a logical next step if you can manage the environment in a way that suits your biological needs. The flat earth people won't like what we found, that's for sure.
Right.
I don't know, because I usually I do a lot of targets, and I just do them, and I don't make a psychological meltdown about it if it contradicts my own understanding of the world. So if it keeps repeating and repeating, or I come across targets that say, hey, there's something underneath, then I probably will change my current belief system for now. I have lava under there. That is my current understanding.
With the Mars target, wasn't it, as well? A lot of us got underground cabins and
Yeah.
creatures living under the ground, and yeah.
Interestingly, that was for me much easier to accept than to accept the possibility of like whole civilization being underneath us. Probably because of the personal or involvement, but yeah, I had a meltdown on it.
Well, there's been a lot written, and it seems like the turn of the 1900s, there were books coming out about, there was the ancient mythologies, but then there's these books written. One Todd Ronan sent, which was, I think I provided a link, was this sort of fictional work that was based on ideas. And different people like Jules Verne wrote about Journey to the Center of the Earth and stuff like that. I bought a book recently, which I posted on there, a picture of about Akartha. And I don't know what the source of writing is. It seems to be a novel, but I think it's supposed to be like maybe partly channeled or something like that, but we'll see if that's interesting. But yeah, there's some interesting videos on YouTube about that stuff. And through Googling, I had found Edward Riordan had done 3 targets related, and I guess he was looking at something in Antarctica, an opening or whatever, which led to further viewing or traveling in the Earth. I haven't really watched more than like maybe the first one on fast forward, but
it's interesting
so-
because on Google Earth you can't see Antarctica. They've blocked it out, and apparently you're not allowed to fly over it either. So I thought that would get the conspiracy theories going.
I did find on Google Earth the supposed site of some kind of speculated to be wreckage of some disk, and there's like a sort of trail or whatever, the snow. But yeah, I haven't looked apart from that.
I think Dick and team is probably going to have, do I remember correct? They are going to have something coming up on that target or on that area, Antarctica. They did a project on it, the ice wall.
Who?
Patrick, the ice wall.
Oh, the ice wall, yeah. Cliff Ice one.
Yeah. Cliff target. So there is going to be something coming out of that about that area. We don't know when. It might have some related findings.
Yes,
but it has been like in the pending for 2 or 3 months now, so we don't know when it's going to be out.
I know that Farsight did on that specific location and target. They did a project related to this craft that supposedly they found that they were digging something out of the ground at some point in time, trying to retrieve a craft or something like that.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, I just said it's really interesting. I'd say Antarctica itself is full of lots of stuff, that could be looked at target-wise, like even these potential kind of, pyramids that seem to be protruding out of the snow. I think Edward Riordan also done another target. There's a photograph of a kind of an opening into the earth, but in Antarctica.
Oh yeah, saw that.
He looked at that as well. I can't remember. Yeah, it's actually an Antarctica target. It's interesting. He finds something in there as well.
That might be what I was talking about.
Yeah. He's done that one. He's done the neutrino one and the Earth's core. So they're all kind of similar in the sense that he's picking up some kind of an intelligence in a couple of those targets. Even actually, he connects one of them to the Akashic record. I can't remember which one that was. That might be the Earth's core target. It's a while since I've looked at them. I'm kind of mixing them up, but they're it's really interesting.
I wonder
Well,
if that's wonder if that's
they-
related to the keeping of records or information or knowledge.
I've
Yes.
heard like there are scientists saying now actually that magnetic fields can override you. Like if you connect to people with magnetic fields, like targeted magnetic field, then there is a higher chance of like telepathy between the people. And many people suspect now that magnetic fields are actually like what are recording the morphogenetic information of like the human biofield and the animal field. So the core being the magnetic core might actually be really like scientifically linked or related to keeping like the biosphere going or the information field of this planet going. I wouldn't rule that out because I've heard like from a scientific point of view, researchers speculating that, so it can be related. We just call it Akashic records, but they call it morphogenetic field.
Yeah, that's why I would kind of believe that as well. This kind of whole kind of resonance where you resonate with certain frequencies of that field, and you can, you know, maybe pick up on information that's in it, and that it would kind of, rather than looking at the brain itself as being, there's an awful lot of emphasis on the subconscious connection to the signal line, but I just think that it's your field connecting to the higher fields. I think it's more likely to be a field theory than a brain theory.
I'd have to agree. You know, David Morehouse and other people, and I've felt that, I guess probably before I heard that from him, was that everything is energy and energy is everything. So there's an energetic component to everything. And I feel like through the sort of holographic matrix, we're able to access information and maybe converge with those realities or bits of information that way.
Yes, that would be kind of my take on it as well. And even I think Dean Radin, I remember watching a couple of his videos on YouTube, and he's done some experiments many years back where he would flash images on a computer screen and have different people that were kind of wired up to test their ability to kind of intuit what those images might be before they were even selected by a random generator on a computer. But he believed that it was the heart that picked it up first. So where he was getting most of the I suppose information that in the field was around the heart, and he said the heart was sending the information to the brain, and that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's been spoken about how the heart maybe has memory, and you know, the heart emotions and connection to information. Yeah, that's interesting stuff.
It is interesting.
I was going to say about the do you remember the solar cycle project we did? Henrietta, I think Gemma might have done that. This was solar. Yeah. You spoke about magnetic fields, and it seemed like we're picking up on the potential of the solar energy or flares could change that and thus affect humankind. That's a possibility, but it made me think of that. Will anybody have any other interesting ideas or opinions? Don't speak at once. No, it was a good project. I think everyone had good information, and I think y'all are all good remote viewers, and it's lovely to be able to know you guys and work with you.
Cool. And same to you guys.
Well, in that case, we'll wrap it up, and until next time.